We've all heard the statement, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. On Answers for Living today, we want to say there is something to fear besides fear itself, and that is there needs to be the fear of God. In the Bible in Acts, it talks about 7 sons of Sceva. They tried to cast out demons by the name of Jesus, and they failed. And the demon-possessed man beat those 7 men to a pulp. Well, verse 17 of Acts chapter 19 says, when this became known to the Jews and the Greeks living in Ephesus, they were all seized with fear, and the name of the Lord was held in high esteem. So the people of Ephesus were afraid, they were terrified, but not of the demons, but of the power of the name of Jesus. And then the name of Jesus was beginning to be taken seriously in the city of Ephesus. You ever wonder why God did the apron and the sweatband miracles in Ephesus and nowhere else? Well, he was speaking the language of the city. The city was into abracadabras and into incantations. And God says, I'll show you real power. He says, I'm not into the voodoo stuff, but I can play your game. And I'm going to do it in ways that will terrify you. And he says, I took those 7 sons of Sceva who had no power and showed them what happens when you use my name in the wrong way. You better fear God. Remember Mark chapter 4? Jesus said to the disciples, let's go to the other side. And they got in a boat, and a storm kicked in, and the disciples were afraid that they were going to die. Now, it was a real storm, and it was real waves, and there was a real chance that they were going to die. And they wake Jesus up, and he gets up, and he simply says, peace. And the wind instantly stops, and the sea becomes like glass. And the disciples are now more terrified of the man in the boat than they were of the storm. They said, who is this man that even the wind and the waves obey him? Most people have lost their fear of God. Some people call God their homeboy. Others say God is my best friend. He's with me all the time. I'm his child. And those statements are true. But we've walked away from the fear of God. Someone will say, well, I don't fear God. I don't think we should be afraid of God. We should reverence God. We should respect him. Well, you should reverence him and you should respect him, but you also need to fear him. The people in Ephesus walked in the fear of the name of Jesus because someone misused the name and it really went bad. I went to court one day to contest a ticket. I just want to let you know, I won that contest, but I was asked to approach the bench, and I walked up to the judge, and he was about 3 foot higher than I was, and then below his desk was this little ledge, and I put my arm on the ledge, and from the bench I hear this word, get your arm off that ledge, and man, I moved my arm so quick. Now, let me understand, I honor the judge, but when he said that, it was fear that made me move my arm, fear of what he could do if I didn't. People, we need to fear God. Don't mess with the name of Jesus. Ananias and Sapphira, they tried to play games with the name of Jesus. They said to the church, we're going to give all of the sale of the proceeds from our land, we're going to give it to the church. And then they decided they'd give some of it, but tell the church they were giving it all. And God killed them in front of the people in the church. And Acts chapter 5 says, and great fear came upon the church and all who heard these things. We need to have a healthy fear of God. It's more than honor and respect. See, I honor police, but when a police car comes up behind me, I drive a little slower. And don't tell me you don't do the same thing. And you put your blinker on a little bit sooner. Why? Fear of the police and the ticket that they can give. Honor and fear go hand in hand. We must fear God.